MoneyWise published an article recently, and I thought the title was very interesting and definitely worth commenting on, talking about home buyers' remorse. Apparently, Redfin's tracking data as far as home buyers canceling within the escrow process. And the title on MoneyWise is Home Buyers' Remorse, thousands of Americans are backing out of signed contracts, what you need to know before you cancel a purchase. I'll give you some insight on this because even in a local market that's incredibly robust with even limited inventory, there are going to be cancellations from time to time of escrows. This article, though, is pointing more to people canceling escrow because a better deal came onto the market. That is in particular markets where they actually have an overabundance of housing inventory, which here in Santa Clarita Valley, Greater Los Angeles, we do not. In fact, in our local markets here, and we're closing out 2023, just a few days left in this year, we still see very limited inventory. We still see house prices climbing, although not as fast as they were a few months ago, but still climbing because our inventory is very limited and we still have a high buyer drive. Now, if the buyer drive were to stop or slow down, then we might have inventory sitting even longer. If the buyer drive continues at the same pace, as inventory continues to be replenished at the same pace, we still have a much higher market than typical, and we are seeing these housing prices continue to increase. Now, if interest rates drop down with a 5 in front of it, we're probably going to see the housing market kick off. But the thing is, we don't have that extra inventory to support such a movement. Thereby, properties are going to even get more expensive, and we're going to see people way overbidding on properties, offering a lot more to those sellers out there if that happens to be the case. Buyers in this market typically don't cancel as often because they worked really hard just to get their offer accepted in the first place. And in fact, those buyers may have overextended themselves, or they've actually maybe sacrificed certain things that they should not have when it came to writing that offer so they could compete with other people out there that were writing offers, multiple offers received on the same property. Thereby, you have all this competition. A lot of times, those sellers are coming back in counter offer form, putting some very interesting things inside that counter offer, asking for the buyers to accept. At the end of the day, it's up to you as a buyer what terms you're going to accept in the counter offer, but a lot of buyers understand that premise, and they also understand that there are buyers that will accept those terms and they really want to get the house. It's thereby after that that a lot of times buyers start to kind of regret those decisions, and they might sit back on their haunches, talk to a relative, or I can just hear my dad's voice. You paid what? You paid $120,000 more than a property was listed for. Again, that's that generation, different than my generation. And if you're watching this and not in mine, probably different than your generation as well. However, here's how the cancellation process could work. It could be that you, as a buyer, decide to cancel escrow, and it could also be that you don't have the right to, so your deposit then could become property of the seller. Deposits aren't any small piecemeal offering anymore. Deposit typically could be up to 3%, and in some cases more, of a home's price. So a $500,000 house, 3% of that is $15,000. If you're going to buy that property, that deposit amount, that money at the very, very beginning that accompanies your offer, if your offer is accepted, then that money becomes real, deposited into escrow. If you happen to move through that process, canceling for a reason that isn't supported by a contractual agreement, maybe you've found something out during your discovery process that you cannot live with, that is a reason to cancel. All cancellations, even if they're really clean by contract, are still subject to review, still subject to potential attorney intervention, lawsuits, those sorts of things, because as you know, at least in California, maybe it is the rest of the United States as well, I'm not familiar, but anybody can sue anybody for anything. Even if they're contractually clean in their cancellation, it's not without possibility of the seller saying, whoa, I'm offended here. Maybe the market switched in the middle. Maybe they think that the buyer canceled for other reasons than they're obligated or able to cancel for. Or maybe the seller takes it personal and says, you know what, we're not going to let you cancel so easy. So that's one scenario. Typically, though, if a buyer is canceling within their rights that are based on a contract, a contract that all parties agreed to, usually the cancellation process, at least has been my experience, isn't really that big of a deal. And of course, it causes the seller pain because now they got to go back on the market. They have to have their property renewed, advertised, and in the historical record of their property, it shows what? Well, it shows what we consider calling the local market a BOM, BOM, back on market is the status the property shows up as after it's been into escrow. And then a lot of those next buyers that are coming through on the property are going to have that question, well, why did the buyers cancel? And of course, all of us as human beings want to say, well, oh my gosh, they must have canceled because something they found out with the property. Maybe they canceled because they did an investigation in the neighborhood and found out it was crime ridden or whatever it may be. Believe it or not, folks, sometimes, most of the time, that's not the case. Buyers can cancel for many reasons. Maybe they lost their ability to finance. Maybe they talked to an uncle and there's a restraining order against the uncle at the neighbor's house, so the uncle can't come to visit, and they really love the uncle. There are a lot of different reasons to cancel besides the shape and wherewithal of the residents or some discovery. Be that as it may, if you cancel within contractual timeframes, usually you're okay, but again, understand that other people might have an issue with it. Your agent should be able to explain this part of the process and give you the education required so you don't get yourself into trouble. However, there is also a time within contract where, as a buyer, after you remove all of your contingencies, those are the things that are keeping you moving forward, basically in a property, and also able to maybe cancel the process because you found out things about the property. There are different time frames involved. Maybe the seller doesn't honor those, again, giving you other reasons to escape contract. There are lots of reasons, but at the end of the day, if you decide to cancel the contract and you are after those and you've removed all your contingencies by signing a document stating, I'm going to buy the house no matter what happens after this point, you cancel there, then there could be an issue. The knee-jerk reaction of this article lends people to believe that, oh my gosh, all these properties are falling out of escrow and people are canceling, coming back on the market. I'm not seeing that here in the Southern California market. We might get a handful out of the hundreds of listings we sell every month. We might get a handful, 5, 10, 12, that come out of escrow. But again, usually not for these reasons, and definitely not because other properties are coming onto the market where that buyer likes better because our inventory is so low. That's the end of a 2023 update. I am Connor with Honor. Thanks for watching.